Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Moto E7 Plus, which was released in September 2020, and it was actually going against today's video, the Oukitel, which was released in August 2020. Now, these devices are really cool. One of them is 178 grams, so 170 grams of weight. A really lightweight device, the Oukitel C21. You get a fingerprint sensor on the back. You also do get over the OTA updates right here, wireless updates on this device. So you could always check for updates. Battery life is really good. So it's a really good device for just a person who wants to get a lot of things done on a device. You know, it's got a lot of storage on here as well. So this is a 6.4-inch device. It does have plastic material. You do get it in the black color, the blue, and the purple, and it is 85% screen to body ratio with that fingerprint sensor on the back and screen facial recognition on the front. Works really well. On the left, we have the Moto E7 Plus. We do get a fingerprint on the rear. Works really fast as well. Now, on the front, we do get a facial recognition as well. Works really fast, blazing fast on here. Also, you get Android 10 on this device. Really nice device to use. Honestly, it's one of my favorite devices to use right now. It has a large display, 6.5-inch display on here, which is going to give you roughly 81 screen to body ratio. So I definitely think that's pretty cool. You do get the brown color, which is like an orange color that I have here, or a blue color on this device. 6.5 inches, like I said before. Now, we do get a TFT display, IPS display on both of these devices. They both look really, really beautiful, honestly, in my opinion. You get that Moto display. Now, this one right here on the left is the Moto phone display. Now, it is a 720 display panel versus the 1081 on the right. So 770 by 1600, it's a HD plus display. Looks really beautiful, honestly, in my opinion. Colors are really nice on here. You get 270 pixels per inch, which is honestly like a medium density screen resolution. So it's going to be pretty cool. But the phone is really snappy as far as scrolling and getting things done. Honestly, I never complained about the speeds on this thing whatsoever. You get a water drop notch, scratch resistance glass, multi-touch as well on the screen. So I definitely think it's a good device when it comes to the overall, you know, like usage of it. You know, I could definitely say it's a really cool device as well. But let's talk more about the screen on the Oukitel. Now, we do get a really nice screen on here. You can see right here, it's a 1080 by 2310 full HD display. Looks really good. Punch hole display at the top, 398 pixels per inch. So when you're using it, colors are really punchy. Everything is going to look really sharp, and you won't have any issues whatsoever. It's got that multi-touch, capacitive touch on as well. It also does have a frameless design, so it looks really good. Quad camera setup on there, fingerprint on the back. So let's get into the performance. So the Moto E7 comes with the Adreno, it does have the Adreno 610 on here. You also do get the Snapdragon on here, which is the 460. It's honestly one of my favorite processing chips because it's going to be really snappy. It's going to be 70% better than the previous generation. So I honestly think it's a really good processing chip. In my opinion, you get 64 gigabytes of storage on here, 4 gigabytes of memory. But honestly, it's a quick device. You won't really see any lag when you're gaming. You can game heavy or you can game light. But I play Call of Duty on here, PUBG, Asphalt 9, 2K, things of that nature. No complaints, no headaches with it. So honestly, it's a good device. I didn't have any issues with it, but it definitely is a good performer when it comes to gaming on here. So that's one of the things that you will notice is that it's pretty snappy. It gets a lot of things done also. So I didn't have any headaches with it. So I could definitely say it was a good performer. It was holding up really well with gaming and things of that nature. So if you're the type of person who likes games, this phone definitely keeps up pretty well. Now the Oukitel C21 is one of those phones where people don't really expect too much from it, but when you start using it, you start realizing how good of a device it is, as a blazing fast processing chip. And not only that, it has a nice chipset as well. The P70, you actually get the Helio P70 on here has an octa-core processing chip as well, 4 GB of RAM on here as well. So I think that's pretty cool. But one of the things that's also pretty sick is you get 64 GB of internal storage. It's also expandable, so you can expand the storage if you do so desire, to your liking. You could put an SD card in there, but I think it's really cool that Alcatel's phones actually are pretty usable and really good. The cameras on here are actually pretty decent as well. You don't get stabilization, but we'll get into that in just a second. But overall, I couldn't complain when it came to the performance on here. Obviously, you were getting a pretty decent processing chip. It's the ARM Mali G720, which is the MP3 clocked in at 700 megahertz. Basically what that means, it's going to be a pretty decent mid-range processing chip, entry-level budget price point. So I think that's pretty cool. Now the Alcatel does have the proximity sensor, light sensor, accelerometer, and gravity sensor, whereas the Moto E7 Plus is going to have your gyroscope on here, compass, accelerometer, light sensor, proximity sensor, and both have the fingerprint sensor as well. But they're both going to be really good devices. No NFC on either one of these devices, but you do get dark mode on here, hotspot, screen record on the Oukitel. On the Moto, you will get things that will be customizable Wi-Fi calling, things of that nature. Right here you can get audio effects for custom sound, things of that nature. QR scanners built right in. A lot of cool features on this device as well. Now when it comes to the cameras, you are getting a 48 megapixel camera on that the E7 Plus, which is actually pretty crazy. So it's a 47 megapixel camera on there. You get video recording up to 1080 full HD, 60 frames per second as well. On the Alcatel, you get the 1080 frames per second, but the Alcatel has a 16 megapixel camera on the rear. So just keep that in mind. Up to 1080 30 frames per second. You get anti-shake on this device for pictures. When it comes to video, you can get up to 1080 right here. As you can see, is customizable. So I think that's pretty cool. Photos come out really good for portraits on both of these devices. You get bokeh, things of that nature. The 2 megapixel after that on the Moto E7 is on the rear for portraits, and then you get a dedicated front 8 megapixel camera. So there's only 2 on the back, 1 on the front. 8 megapixel on the front. On the front of the, now we do get 4 cameras on the back of the Oukitel, a 16 megapixel for main, 2 megapixel for portraits, 0.3 for macro, 2 for the standard lens. It's an auxiliary camera, which means that it's going to assist with the other cameras as well. 20 megapixel on the front, which is actually a pretty decent camera, 20 megapixels. So it's going to capture some pretty decent, portraits as well. Not too bad whatsoever. So honestly, when it came to the cameras, I didn't have any issues with it. It definitely held up really well when it came to the photos. On that device, it looks really good when it comes to pictures. So I just was having a really good time with the Oukitel, because I was really surprised with the photo quality that I was getting. But also the Motorola did give you some really good night photos. I was really surprised. At nighttime, it was just taking some crazy photos like in the nighttime, and it made them super bright, and it didn't matter how dark it was. The nighttime imagery always looked good no matter what. So that was one of the things that I liked about the Moto E7, whereas we didn't have any dedicated night mode for the Oukitel. So just keep that in mind. You will get that dedicated mode right here, night vision, which is really good for the Moto E7 Plus. Now when it comes to the Geekbench scores, let's take a look at both devices. They're both running Android 10. one has the MediaTek Helio chipset, and the other has the Qualcomm. Now P70 on the right here, you can see the scores here. And I haven't conducted a test for the Geekbench, so let me let that run in the background for 1 second. Okay, so guys, we have a 255 single core score, really close to the performance on the Oukitel. They're very similar. The Oukitel just has a really crazy clock speed in it. It's a little bit brighter with that 1080 display as well, so just keep that in mind. You will be getting a brighter display on the Oukitel, 5,000 milliamp hour battery on the E7 Plus, so it's going to be a lot bigger battery. You will get better battery on the E7 Plus, but the Oukitel has a really good battery as well, so it lasts really long, guys. So honestly, both of these devices are really good for overall performance, so I can't complain with either one. Let's do Play Store on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And that went to the Oukitel. Let's try Facebook on the count of 3. So 1, 2, 3. And that was the E7, it looked like, but I wasn't logged in. And then let's try something where I am logged in, like Amazon. 1, 2, 3. That was the I cheated. I don't even know what happened right there. I pressed the wrong button. Let's do AliExpress. 1, 2, 3. That was the Oukitel. Let's try a couple more apps, guys. Facebook. Or no, we did Facebook. Let's try Spotify. 1, 2, 3. And it seems like the Oukitel is just a slight bit quicker when it comes to just opening up like apps on a regular basis. Let's do the Bible. It's only on this device. Hold on. So let's see. Let's do one more app. SoundCloud. 1, 2, 3. And at that time it was the E7 Plus, guys. So hopefully you guys did find this video helpful in any way possible to you. Hopefully you guys have a great morning, afternoon, evening, depending where you are. Have a great night. But in the meantime, I'll get right back with you later, crew. Peace.